Once upon a time, there was a king who faced many difficulties in managing his kingdom. One day, the king thought that if he could answer 3 crucial questions, his job would be much easier, and he could avoid unnecessary failures. The 3 important questions were: what is the most important thing in life? Who is the most important person in life? When is the most important time in life? The king ordered proclamations to be posted all over the country. Whoever could answer these questions would be greatly rewarded. Many people, after reading the proclamation, flocked to the palace, each offering different answers. For the first question, some advised the king to establish a detailed schedule, planning everything to be done by the hour, day, month, and year. By following this timetable, the king could accomplish everything at the right time. Others believed that the king should not plan everything in advance. Instead, he should set aside trivial entertainments and maintain a focus on each task, ensuring he knows what to do and when. Some insisted that the king should rely on himself, as not everything can be anticipated, and the ability to decide when to do what lies within him. They suggested that the king should form a group of wise and knowledgeable people and act according to their advice. Others said that some matters require immediate decisions without time for consultation. To predict the future, the king should seek the opinions of soothsayers and prophets. For the second question, some said the king should completely trust his ministers. Others believed he should rely on wise men and the teachings of saints. Some recommended doctors, while others suggested the king trust his soldiers. For the third question, the answers varied widely. Some said science was the most important endeavor. Others insisted it was religion. Still, others advocated for strengthening the military as the most crucial task. However, the king was not satisfied with any of the answers and did not reward anyone. After many nights of contemplation, the king decided to visit a hermit living in the mountains. It was said that this hermit was a renowned sage. The king hoped to find the hermit and ask him the 3 questions. Knowing the hermit never left the mountain and only met with poor people, avoiding the powerful and wealthy, the king disguised himself as a commoner, instructed his entourage to wait at the foot of the mountain, and climbed alone to find the hermit. Upon arrival, the king saw an old man digging in the vegetable garden in front of a small hut. The old man nodded in greeting but continued his labor, lifting the hoe with evident difficulty. The king approached and asked, "Good day. I have come to seek your wisdom on 3 important questions. How can I know the right time to act, so as not to miss opportunities and regret later? Who are the most important people to pay attention to? And what is the most important task to be done first?" The old man, hearing the king's questions, simply patted the king's shoulder and resumed his work. After a while, seeing the old man sweating profusely, the king said, "You must be tired. Let me help you with the hoe." The old man thanked him and handed over the hoe, sitting down to rest under a tree. Hours passed, and they continued to take turns digging. As evening approached, the king said, "I came to seek answers to 3 questions, and if you cannot answer, please tell me so I can return home." The hermit looked up and asked, "Don't you hear someone running towards us?" The king turned around to see a man emerging from the forest, clutching his bleeding stomach. Before he could reach them, he collapsed to the ground, groaning in pain. The king and the hermit examined the wound. Seeing a deep stab, the king carefully cleaned the wound and bandaged it with his own shirt. However, the blood quickly soaked through. The king repeatedly cleaned and bandaged the wound until the bleeding stopped. The injured man eventually regained consciousness and asked for water. The king fetched a pot of water from a nearby stream. By then, the sun had set, and the air had turned cold. The hermit helped the king carry the man into his hut and laid him on the bed. The man closed his eyes and rested. After a long day of climbing and digging, the king was exhausted and fell asleep by the door. When he woke, the sun was already high. For a moment, he was unsure where he was or how he got there. He looked towards the bed and saw the injured man staring at him in fear. The man, recognizing the king, said softly, "Please forgive me, Your Majesty." "What crime have you committed that I should forgive you?" asked the king. "You do not know me, but I know you. I am your sworn enemy. In the past war, you killed my brother and confiscated all my property. When I learned you were coming alone to see the hermit, I vowed to take revenge. I lay in ambush, but your guards recognized and wounded me. I escaped and ran here. If it weren't for your help, I would have died. I came to kill you, but you saved my life. I cannot express my shame and gratitude enough. I vow to serve you faithfully for the rest of my life and will instruct my descendants to do the same. Please forgive my sins." Hearing this, the king was overjoyed to have reconciled with his enemy. He not only forgave the man, but also promised to return his property and sent royal doctors and servants to care for him until he recovered. The king then bid farewell to the hermit and prepared to leave. Before departing, the king said to the hermit, "I still have not fulfilled my wish. You have not answered my 3 questions." The hermit looked at the king and said, "But your questions have already been answered." The king, puzzled, listened as the hermit explained, "Yesterday, if you had not pitied my weakness and helped me dig, you would have been ambushed on your way back and regretted not staying with me. Thus, the most important time was when you were digging, and the most important person was me. The most important task was helping me dig. When the injured man arrived, the most important time was when you were caring for him, as it allowed you to make peace with an enemy. He was the most important person, and the most important task was tending to his wound." The king then understood, "Ah, I see. So, remember, the most important time is always the present. The present is the only time we have control over. The most important person is the one you are with at that moment. And the most important task is to make the person next to you happy and bring good into their life." Many of us today often struggle because we worry about distant, unrealistic things, while the essential things right in front of us are neglected. Just remember, there is no time more important than the present moment, no task more important than what you are doing now, and no person more important than the one you are with. This understanding will make life much smoother.